Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. As you can tell, we are out here in the garage again. The weather's slowly starting to warm up. We're actually above zero for a change. And hey, things are still, under wraps here, but maybe in a couple weeks, weather holds, might be out for a ride. But anyway, we are going to talk about today an American icon, and that is the Sportster. In fact, there is one right there. But first, before we do that, we've got a couple of viewer bikes to look at. And the first is Kevin's bike from Australia. And this is a 2009 Fat Boy. This one has S&S cams, Vance and Hines pipes, some trim around the headlight, saddlebags, and a passenger backrest. That is a nice twin cam. Secondly, we have Steve's 2003 100th Anniversary Road King. He says it's pretty much stock except for the 21-inch front wheel DNA fat spokes complemented by Avon rubber. There are also some chrome parts, and it looks like we have some aftermarket, possibly slip-ons as well. Very nice rides, guys, and of course, if anybody out there would like to see their bike in a video, send me some pictures with some information. My email address is in the description below. So the Sportster, the longest running production model Harley has. And this is one of Harley's most polarizing bikes as well. And I think many have heard the bike referred to as a quote-unquote girl's bike, simply because this is a smaller, more entry-level model. But there have been a lot of people who have learned to ride big twins on a Sportster, myself included. The XL Sportster came out in 1957. That is 68 years ago, folks. And there have been tons of changes to this model throughout the years. But the first Sportster had an air-cooled 883cc overhead valve 4-cam iron head engine. Now this thing made a whopping 40 horsepower. It also came with a 4-speed tranny. Now the bike way back then was known as a little bit more of an American sports bike. And Harley at the time was competing with British machines and hoped that this lighter, more nimble bike would help win back some of that market share. The next year, in 1958, Harley came out with the XLC Sportster, or competition model. This one came with domed piston heads and larger ports and valves. There was also the XLCH, or competition hot variant, that came with a higher compression. The bike got an electric start in 1967, a 1000cc engine in 1972, and in 1975 the gear shift was switched to the left side. And 1979 marked the last year of the kickstart only Sporty. But it was in the mid-80s where the Sportster got its major upgrade. And we are talking the iron head that had been the choice of engine from 1957 to 1985 was now replaced with the new kid on the block. That's right, folks, the Evolution engine. Now in 1986, that Evolution-powered engine debuted, and it came with displacements of 883cc and 1100cc. And that was until 1988, where the displacement was upped from 1100 to 1200cc. In 1991, a 5-speed transmission replaced the 4-speed transmission, and the Sportster got a belt drive that replaced the chain drive. And by 1993, belt drive was standard on all the Sportster models. 1996 gave us the XL 1200C Custom and XL 1200S Sport models. All 1996 Sportsters featured a new high contact ratio gearbox, and in 1998, The XL 1200S gets dual spark plug heads and high performance cams. Now 2003 was the last of the frame mounted engines, because in 2004 we got a new frame and a rubber mounted engine. Now this was done to reduce vibration while riding. Something else we got new in 2004 was the removal of the exhaust balance pipe. Now this is the pipe in between the two, and this had run under the air filter but was now removed to show more of that Evolution engine. Now, keeping with changes in 2004, the previously somewhat exposed battery now was enclosed by a side panel on the left-hand side. And next for big changes came in 2007, when fuel injection replaced carburetors on all models. And yet more changes came about 7 years later in 2014, when we got new electrical harnesses, larger brakes, ABS option, keyless entry, new speedometer with gear indicator, tachometer, increased engine compression ratio, and catalytic converter. And now we come to 2020, which was the last year of the Sportster as we knew it, the classic Sportster, because it was then killed off. And that led to 2021, where it was replaced by a new model with a liquid-cooled Revolution Max 1250cc engine. This model was called the Sportster S, and in my opinion, this is a Sportster in name only. To me, this bike has more in common with the V-Rod than it does the Sportster. Now, really, I could be here all day going over all the various changes, all the various models that came out over the last 68 years, because we had things like the Nightster, we had the XR 1200, the 48, the 72, the Roadster, and on and on and on. Even Evel Knievel rode a Sportster. But one of the things I really love about the Sportster model is the customization, because I like the customization on these bikes probably more than any in the Harley lineup. After all, I have my own customized 1988 Sportster Leaky Pete. Is it safe and powerful, as nice a ride as my Fat Boy? Well, obviously not, but it does have more character and probably gets more looks on the road as my newer Fat Boy. Another great thing about the Sportster is that there are tons of them out there, and they can be cheap. For $3,000 or $4,000, you can still get a bike with an engine that can last for many more years yet to come. And for the most part, these bikes are simpler machines and not very hard to work on. You don't need to be a journeyman mechanic to fix up these bikes. Some of them, like, my bike Leaky Pete, can be surprisingly easy. You also have a lot of parts out there. I mean, tons of manufacturers make parts for the Sportster and Evolution engines. And the sky is the limit for really what you can actually do with the Sportster. Now, really, lastly, I am one of those folks that was not happy when the classic Sportster, went away, was murdered by Harley Davidson. But I like them much more than the Sportster S, that's for sure. To me, the new bikes like the Sportster S, they lack the look, the sound, and the character you got with that older Sportster. But let's face it, time moves on and change happens. The new bikes may not have the same flash, but they are more powerful and handle better. Other than the look and the sound, these bikes are pretty much superior in pretty much, every way. But that being said, I don't think you're going to see me buying one anytime soon. And that's it for today. So let's hear some love for the good old Sportster in the comments. And until next time, you guys have fun out there, you stay safe, and I will catch you in the next one.